Welcome to this live workshop on YouTube. I am so excited today to just really open up and share about my story as an artist and how I became successful. And I really want to share with you guys 5 key insights or key tools that have helped me get here. And I want to share that with you so that you guys can also just learn from it and be able to apply it to wherever you're at in your own art career. And I feel like this advice can hopefully reach so many different people depending on where you're at. And so this is the secret framework behind a successful art career. And super quickly, this is live, and we have Tanner here behind the scenes. He's going to help answer some of your questions so you guys can ask questions in the chat and get those answered right away. And also I can answer some along the way or at the end of this video.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this live stream. I think Dimitra is one of the most qualified people to talk on this topic. I mean, she's had a crazy successful career, and I think it's gonna be super exciting to kind of see the framework she's kind of discovered over the years. So yeah, put any questions you have in the chat and we will try to answer as many of them as we can towards the end.
Okay, so we will get straight into it. Really quickly, my name's Dimitra Milan. I've been a professional for over 10 years, and I've helped thousands of students around the world help find their own unique style and voice and start selling their work. And I've consistently made 6 figures a year through the sale of my paintings alone. So here's what you guys are gonna learn today. The 5 key pillars that have helped me build my art career, how to develop your own unique style and voice, and how to confidently share your work, and why saying yes to small opportunities is so important, and we're going to really go into that. And then we're going to talk all about the mindset that you need to have for, to be a successful person. So number 1, this is probably the most important thing, in my opinion, is having a very unique style that's recognizable. And this takes time to develop. It's not something that just happens overnight, but there is a clear path to help you get there, and I'll share more about that at the end of this video. We also have a free art career assessment that you guys can take at the end of this video. That's really gonna help you find which areas you should work on in your career. So how to find your unique style. I think this really just comes down to painting consistently and just showing up, being in your studio. And for me, my story is a little bit unique because I started at such a young age. I started painting when I was 12. I learned from my parents, and they have an art school, and now I co-own the art school with them, but at the time this was just opening, and I started taking a bunch of classes and really just fell in love with art at a young age and decided that I wanted to put my focus on it. So when I was about 15 years old, I was painting very consistently, and I was working 40 hours a week on my art. So you're probably wondering how I was doing that with school, but I was homeschooled for that time, and I finished school in like 2 to 3.
Okay, that should fix it. All right.
We're good to go? Okay,
Yes.
Sorry about that technical difficulty. Let us know in the chat if everything's running smoothly now. So where should I back up to what I was saying or keep going?
Start from creating a habit.
Okay. Yeah. So, so painting 40 plus hours a week is a lot of time to dedicate to your art. Even if you're just putting in 10 hours consistently, just make some kind of plan for yourself that you're going to stick to it for a few hours each week. And the more time, obviously, the faster you'll get there. But if you can do, I know a lot of people who take our mastery program who are doing a full-time job and then they also paint 20 hours a week. So it is possible. And I think it all comes down to your determination. So having that discipline, if you aren't feeling inspired, you just have that discipline to keep painting, the inspiration will come. It always happens. And it's so hard to just get started, I think. And once you're in that flow and you make it easier for yourself by having better studio habits, just having projects in motion, it's gonna help you guys get started painting. Planning out your paintings and really planning to work in a series where they all have a similar theme will help you guys arrive at a style quicker. So instead of just jumping around trying all these random ideas, that sometimes can take you off track.
And before you go on, I think it cut out right before, talk about how you did 40 hours while doing school, just so people were wondering that.
Yeah. So you're probably wondering how I was doing 40 hours a week at 14 years old. But I was homeschooled, and so I did 2 to 3 hours of schoolwork, and I got everything done in that time. And then I spent the rest of my time, all my free time, painting. So I sometimes worked on weekends, and I was working with a publishing artist agent at the time, and that also just gave me a lot of pressure I had to perform, I had to have these paintings finished. So I'll probably get into that story a little bit later. I feel like I could talk about that for a whole hour. So maybe in a few slides I will get there. So lastly, by painting so consistently, you're gonna eventually arrive at a process that feels right for you, where it's a consistent process that you can repeat and it feels natural, it feels exciting for you. It's not something that you're dreading. Painting shouldn't feel super difficult. It should just bring you joy and happiness, I think. So that comes down to having enough skills and finding the right process. So if you don't have the skills yet and you want to make this really beautiful art you see in your head, but you just can't quite get that on the canvas, it's just going to take time to practice your skills. And the good news is anyone can learn how to paint really well, and it just takes time and finding the right teachers to learn from. So we have tons of classes online, and we have our mastery program. I'll talk more about that later. But you can just start where you're at and find a mentor, continually learn new techniques and mediums. And I think it's great when you're starting out to try all the mediums to really see what feels right for you. Because if you just stick with one and that's your comfort zone, then how do you know that that's really you and your style? You have to try a lot of different things to know what's right. And I think when you're developing your style and your voice, this is really the part where you have to dig deep in yourself and figure out your why. Why do you love to create art? And that's what's going to drive you in those really hard moments. So it's inevitable that you'll make art that you don't love. You'll get rejection. You'll have difficult times for sure while painting. So really digging deep and knowing why do you love to paint, and narrow it down to in your process, what part of painting brings you the most joy, and then focus on that, and that's going to be your strength. Lastly, for developing your unique style, finding artists around you that you really admire and maybe there's certain elements of their art that you want to emulate, that's going to really help you guys get to a style quicker. If you're just completely going off of imagination and you don't have any references whatsoever, it's going to be a lot harder. So when I first got started, I had a few different artists that I was looking at. I was, in the beginning, very inspired by my parents, and I just, I was around them all the time. I saw what they were doing, and I thought, I can do that. So I would kind of copy what they were doing, and that helped me get to a certain point. In order to go deeper and really find myself, I had to look further and branch out and kind of see what other art was out there and what about that art resonated with me. So over time, I learned that I loved creating a story and combining different imagery together, having a portrait with an animal. Maybe there's double exposure involved where there's just a lot of things going on within the figures. I was really inspired by like having a silhouette and painting different scenes inside of them. And that's something that I repeated over time, and that's what led me to a very distinct style that I have today. Okay, so number 2 on the 5 key pillars is saying yes to small opportunities. I think a lot of artists, they get started, they have maybe a small body of work that's cohesive or they feel like is ready for the gallery or ready to show the world. And maybe you're thinking like you want that big opportunity right now. You want to sell that art for $5,000. It took you 10 plus hours and you want to get the money you feel it's worth. But I think you have to start small and start at a realistic, Start somewhere realistic for where you're at in your journey. And when I first got started, I think my art was really good, especially compared to a lot of artists around me. And I had skill at a young age, but if you compare that art to what I'm creating now, I've definitely grown and changed. But you have to say yes to those small opportunities because that's going to help you be ready for those bigger opportunities. And I started at this thing called the Dirt Road Market in Arizona, and it was at this farmer's market near our house. And every Saturday we set up a little booth, me and my sisters and my dad, and I would sell my paper pieces, and they were selling for around $100 each. So maybe it was like $50 to $200 was like the most I would charge for my art. And I would sell probably 10 paintings in a weekend. And for me at the time, being like 12 or 13, that was super good money, and I was very excited about that. And it really motivated me to keep going. So I did that for, I want to say like at least a couple years, and I would just say yes to any kind of opportunity that I could show my art to the public. So I was doing live auctions. We had a really great, kind of gallery street in Scottsdale. There's a lot of nice galleries there, and they would have these kind of live events where they shut down the street and have a lot of, I think they called it Art Walk Thursday or something. And so eventually I got into one of those galleries as a one-time show, and they wanted to just test out my art, and it did really well, and I think I sold every painting I put in the show. And so that's a picture of me on the left at that show. So this particular event, it was very important for me in my career because from this, a publishing company on Facebook, they're based in Hawaii, they saw this photo on Facebook and reached out to me, wanted to work with me, and it was an incredible opportunity. I ended up working with them for 2 years. They helped get my art all over the US in 12 plus galleries, and I was painting 6 to 8 originals every month and selling tons of art. They almost were selling faster than I could paint them. So everything started from just saying yes and putting myself out there. Maybe if there's any questions particularly on like each pillar, if there's like 1 or 2 questions I could answer maybe, if you think. No? Yeah? Okay. So also, saying yes to these smaller events kind of builds momentum, and I feel like just being open in your heart, you automatically attract more opportunity to yourself. If you're feeling closed off and afraid and not ready, or you tell yourself you're not ready, then that's just opportunities won't come your way, and you can't be upset about that. But it will build belief within you the more you start to do it and put yourself out there. So every event is, think of it as you're getting practice and confidence for those future bigger opportunities. Okay, so number 3 is mastering the business side. And I think some artists hear this and think that this part is probably the most overwhelming and difficult and just vague, and probably maybe you think like you won't enjoy this marketing side of it, but I think that it can be enjoyable, and marketing is also very creative. And just think of like you want to have a very good system set up on, like, let's say, well, I think every artist should have a website, and you have, that's your funnel. And so you have all these different outlets that you're getting eyes on your art. You have social media, you have in-person events, shows, handing out business cards. There's so many different ways to grab that kind of cold audience and bring it to what you're selling, and ultimately, seeing your work and falling in love with it. So you need a really good system in place for that. And so I think you got to spend time creating a nice branded website that really reflects you and your art and your story. And I know this slide's all about pricing. We'll get to that. But that's really important to me, is having a great place to gather all those people and create the exchange on your art. Because if you are getting a lot of views and you're getting a lot of kind of interest in your art, but you have no place to direct them, then it's going to be harder for you to sell your art. You have to be ready and get that in place so that you can have the success you want. So for pricing your art, you definitely want to start, like I mentioned before, if you're just getting started. When I first got started, my paintings were selling for $50, $100, $200, and I gradually worked up the prices to where they are at now, which is $7 a square inch and $8 a square inch for commissions. So the average painting I sell is around $6,000 to $8,000. And that is all due to demand, your quality, and finding the right audience. And so I think this process will just happen naturally, but you have to be okay with starting at a lower price point than working your way up from demand. So once you know that you're ready to raise your prices is when you just can't really keep up with the demand, and you're selling so much of your art and you have maybe back orders or commissions that people are waiting for, and you're just feeling like you're at a place where you can't keep up. That's when you need to start increasing your prices. So a good pricing strategy is the square inch model. So just, I feel like that is the most fair way to price your art, and not really, some people like to think about like how much time it took, but I don't know that that's the best way to price your art, because something that took you maybe 3 hours could be equally as beautiful and amazing as something that took you 20 hours. And maybe when you're first getting started, something will take you 20 plus hours to finish, but as you get better and more skilled, that time will decrease and you'll get faster. Okay, so tightening your branding is really going to help you market your art better. So definitely use social media. Everyone's on social media these days. It's, I think, the best way to get known and really share your art on a major platform. And I think you have to be really good about sharing your story as an artist. And that's what people are really going to connect to, because when they're buying your work, they're not just buying your art, they're buying a piece of you. And we'll get into that more specifically a little bit later on. So the third thing in Master the Business side is building an email list. And this is really important because social media is so great. You can reach thousands of people in a day, but having an audience that like you really own and are able to speak directly with, that's even more valuable. So building an email list from the very beginning, I think, is crucial for your art business. And I wish I started that sooner. I've been working at it for the last maybe 2-3 years, and I've just recently been very disciplined to start sending emails every week, and maybe it's been about a year of that, and I've seen my email list grow dramatically. So, and my sales grow dramatically as well. So building community through your email list is very important. So even if you're just starting and you have 20 people on your email, that's very good. It's better than having 0 people. So number 4 is a big one, and that is to face your fears and build confidence. So as an artist, I think, let me back up actually. I'll just share something personally. I was so afraid of public speaking growing up. In school, it was like my least favorite thing. Being in front of the classroom, reciting a poem, doing anything like that was so traumatic for me. And being on camera, that was like, I never would have imagined I'd be doing what I'm doing right now when I first got started. So you have to be able to face your fears if you want to be the best version of yourself and really attract that success that you want. So I think having that breakthrough, you have to push through the discomfort and face some of the things that maybe you just don't want to face in your life. And I think for a lot of artists, being shy is a major thing. A lot of people can relate to this. Talking about your work, being at an art show, a lot of artists were more introverted. We just like to be in our studios and would rather someone else sell the art or handle that. But I think that if you can learn to open up a little bit more and be comfortable talking about your art, it's really going to build confidence within yourself and attract more loyal collectors to you. And it's just going to help you affect more people. So you'll be able to really make an impact on the world if you face that fear of public speaking or being shy. And also to share on how I overcame this. It was not a one-time thing, like it didn't just happen in a day. I started filming, so the first time I really faced this fear was being on camera, and that was a combination of talking to, I imagine, like hundreds or thousands of people, knowing that what I'm saying is like recorded, I'll have to watch myself later. All this stuff just freaked me out. And it started when my mom had this kind of download for the mastery program, and she was like, I really want to film this course. It'll help people all over the world. And we were teaching it in person at the time, and we only had about 24 students a year, and we were teaching them like every day. And she's like, if we could manage to film this and put it online, we would have hundreds of students taking this program, or thousands. Like, we didn't even know how big it would be at the time. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I could try to film. And the first few times were like super rough for me, and it was, very difficult. And I had a lot of breakdowns and crying and had to pause filming and like restart. And eventually it just got easier and easier. And now I'm talking live on YouTube. So anything is possible, and you guys can overcome those fears for sure. So opportunities come through courage. So being able to just be generous with yourself and really, share your heart and share your story with the world. That will connect people to your art, because they aren't just buying your art, they're buying you, a piece of you as well. And so they really want to know, like, who is behind this beautiful art? Why were they inspired? They're just drawn to the artist. It's not just all about the art. Okay, so number 5 is a little bit kind of what we were talking about, but going a little bit more in depth. Sharing generously and how to build community. So connection creates collectors. And the power of storytelling is so important. And so this goes back to building your email list. You can think of different ways, different stories in your life that you can share about and somehow relate back to your art. And you might think your art's so separate from your personal life, but it's not. Everything's connected. And everything that we go through as people in our everyday lives is translated through the canvas, through the paint, and ultimately the collector feels it as well. So the stories that are going on in your life, I think there's always like a tactful, even if it's something that's kind of negative, there's like a way that you can talk about it in a poetic, beautiful way, or like a learning experience, and bring that back to a story behind your art. Even if you're painting an abstract and you're like, I don't know what this abstract's about, just talk about your life. Just find something that's going on in your life, and I'm sure you'll see that it was translated through the brushstrokes on your abstract. So sharing your story is very crucial. Share it on social media, and share it through your email list and your website as well. And you also just want to be genuine. So you don't have to force these stories. You don't have to force these meanings behind your paintings. I think it's good to just let it come naturally, and you just want to be real and open with people. And I've learned that the best collectors have really become friends of mine, and we become close. And they're not just a collector who buys one piece of art. They've bought for years, and they have become ongoing collectors of my art. So I think that's the goal, and you can achieve that by just being real, be your authentic self, and that happens when you connect with yourself authentically. So that connection has to happen first, then it translates to your art and to the collectors. Also, this, sharing, this is a recent picture. I am almost 4 months pregnant now, and this painting, I was painting this not knowing that I was going to be pregnant soon, but I did this whole motherhood series, and it came out of just a pain that I had from last summer. I had a miscarriage, and just painting this whole series really brought me a lot of healing. And by talking about it, it was really hard at first, but it's letting people in on my journey, because I know other people have had, a similar experience, and my art was able to really affect them if I shared about it. So, going back to being authentic and sharing those life stories will really help people connect to your art. Okay, so those were the 5 major pillars, and really the things that have helped me get to where I am today. And I hope that by sharing that with you, it's really helped you guys kind of figure out where you need to focus on. Maybe it's multiple areas, multiple things that I mentioned. Maybe it's just one particular area that stands out. But I feel like, by sharing that, I hope that it really resonates and helps you guys. And if you're unsure on a path forward with your art, I highly recommend checking out our mastery program because it has helped so many people, thousands of artists, and time again we've heard that it has changed their life, that this is a life-changing program, and it's not just an art program that teaches you how to paint. It does teach you how to paint. You find your own unique style and voice. It's very in-depth, and we also teach the marketing side of it and how to make a website, how to sell your art, put yourself out there, really go through the whole entire process of becoming a professional artist. But not only, it's not just that, it's also a very deep, transformative journey that will help you really connect with yourself and find what you're passionate about and how to affect people through your art and find purpose in your art. So whether you, maybe you're watching this and you just want to get better with your art, then the mastery program is still an amazing course because you go so deep in the messaging behind your art, like how to pull that out of you and really create the best art imaginable. So I want to share with you some really inspiring before and afters with our students. And this is Anna Bostrom. And this is her art on the left before she did, that's before the program. And then after, in just a month, because we teach portraits right away in the beginning. We start with oil painting and drawing. And you can see her skills dramatically changed. So she was so shocked. Now she creates beautiful art. She has a really beautiful style. She went viral on TikTok and sold like 350 prints of a painting in one day. And I remember her like being just completely overwhelmed and like, oh my gosh, can't believe this happened to me. But yeah, super cool. So, okay, I can keep sharing some testimonials, but were there any questions? Because I know a while back I was like, if anyone has questions, I can answer.
Yeah. So we've got a few questions. Someone had a question earlier about, they said their studio is in their bedroom and they find it hard to relax or stay focused for more than 2 hours at a time. Do you have any advice for them?
Well, I think you can create a nice studio in any space, even if it's a very small corner of your room. I actually paint I have like a good sized studio, but I paint in one very small area of the studio. And I would say what keeps me motivated, and everyone's kind of different, but having like a very beautiful, clean, inspiring setup helps me stay focused longer and just want to be in that space. If it's cluttered or dark or I don't know, there's something in there that's just like not feeling right, then it's harder to sit there and like be inspired to paint. So I would just say make that corner of your bedroom really a nice space that you want to be in, and have good lighting. I think that's so important. There's very inexpensive ways to get like clamp lights with like a really bright light bulb to shine on your art, but having good lighting is really important. And I think if you're not able to focus for more than 2 hours, maybe it's your process. There could be so many different things going on, but it could be like you just don't have a clear process for your art, or maybe you don't have a clear reference image. I'm not sure. There could be a lot of different things happening.
Yeah. And some people are wondering, a few people express this sentiment of like, there's so many things they want to paint. What's the best way to select or narrow down to a source or subject?
So I would journal it out, and kind of, actually this is a technique that we teach in the program when it's in the voice section, but you create these bubbles and like these maps, and you write out all the different subject matter that you are attracted to or what you want to paint, and you narrow it down. Let's say you want to paint women portraits, then what specifically, like what kind of women portraits? What do they look like? What are they doing? What poses? And maybe you find that you just want to paint women with their eyes closed, or you want to paint them wide open. Maybe there's something specific about the portrait that you didn't realize that you were attracted to before. And so writing this stuff down will help you guys narrow it down and find that thread that you'll be able to connect through all the subject matter, and that's going to help you kind of discover that voice. So if you leave it too broad, then it will be a much harder process to find that consistency.
Yeah. And someone was wondering if there was ever a time where you yourself questioned your why, or like painting didn't feel joyful for you?
Yes, there were times for sure. So back when I was working with that artist agent in Hawaii, for like the first year working with them, I had to paint. They really were focusing on like the first galleries they could get into, and that was all Hawaiian galleries. And I loved Hawaii. I visited there a lot. It was an inspiring, beautiful place for me. And so at first, like painting Hawaiian imagery was fine, felt good. But then after a while, it was kind of like all they wanted, and they were trying to control all the subject matter I was painting. And they were like, more dolphins, more whales, more jellyfish. I don't know, they had very specific things. And so after a while, I was feeling like a little bit burned out, and just, it definitely tested me, like, do I actually enjoy painting, like the process of painting, or is it more about the end result? Like I had to really figure that out. And anyway, getting through that is a whole other story. But yes, there are times. And I think I think when that happens, it's just another opportunity for growth and to figure out how to overcome that. And like there's a breakthrough on the other side.
Yeah. Someone also was wondering, wait, I just lost it, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, some people were wondering if you had any tips on how to create an email list.
So you have to have a website and make sure that it works with, like, I think there's different email plugins you can use, like MailChimp or, gosh, it's not coming to me. There's like another major one.
If you hadn't asked, I know it.
Okay, well, there's a lot of good ones out there. And so you choose one of those and just get started. I would give your email list like a name, like name the community, and don't just call it an email newsletter, because people don't really, everyone does that. So find something unique that fits your brand. So mine is called Dear Dreamer and the Dear Dreamer community. And so every single email starts out as Dear Dreamer, and then I will go into the email. And so that's kind of my format I've been sticking with, and that fits my brand. So finding something, I know my mom's is called the Artist Odyssey, and she does more blog style emails where she shares funny stories of her life. And she loves to tell stories. That's just something that comes natural to her. She likes to, she could tell stories forever. So that really works for her, and she saves them all in like this blog format. So you can choose something that works for you. If you're not much of a writer, maybe you don't think that you are. I've struggled with it myself. It's not something that comes super natural to me. I do like writing poetry, but emails was something I had to I just treat it as like it's a journal almost. Like it's more of an insider, like I'm a little bit more vulnerable with my emails than I am like on social media. So finding the right format that works for you, that you can do consistently, even if it's just 2 paragraphs, it doesn't have to be like this whole long email. Doing something will be better than nothing. And you could send it once a month just to get started. It doesn't have to be every week. If you love to write, then you could send it twice a week. You could send it 3 times a week. You got to find what works for you. But you can add like different links to your social media to get people to get on your email list. You could run different giveaways in order to grow that email list. I've done that recently. It's really helped. So in order for someone to enter the giveaway, they have to sign up. So you can do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like it's good to just think of your emails as like their content. You know, you're not just sending an email. You're crafted in a way that, you know, the person reading it gets some kind of value out of it.
Exactly.
Whether it's insight or entertainment or something.
Yeah, it's not always you selling something. Don't think of it like that, because that does get old. If you're constantly getting sold to in an email, like, you're not going to want to be part of that email community anymore. So you just pepper in so that it actually, people will be interested when you are selling something. But you're building that trust and that community by just being vulnerable and sharing your life, sharing behind the scenes in your studio, sharing the inspiration behind a painting or a series that you've started, or you traveled somewhere and you had a revelation, just whatever it was. Keeping people in the loop will just help you long term.
Yeah, and kind of bouncing off that, some people are wondering, like someone asked, like, how would I tell my story without sounding like I'm whining? And some people are wondering, like, how to take like more traumatic parts of their life and kind of flip it, if you could have any advice for.
Yeah, that's, you know, that takes time, and not all of us have like fully overcome those pain points. I think, well, in the mastery program, that's actually a very crucial point in the voice section, is you face like your deepest pain. And my mom goes through this really well, like gives lots of examples, and like whatever your deepest pain, like we all have something that we've battled our whole life where it's just kind of like this repeated story. And not all of us have overcome it, or we're like in the process of it. And so that can be a little bit harder. And sometimes by painting and just, you know, starting this process, painting will help you bring that healing, and you kind of overcome it while you paint. So I would say there's always a tactful way to share your story, but you don't have to go like very in depth with it. You can kind of just choose to share parts of it, or you know, try to flip that pain into like, what is the opposite? Like, what would that positive version be like? And that's ultimately your superpower that you will help people with through your art. So it is like a long thing to answer and talk about, but we do definitely go in depth on that in the mastery program. So really quickly, I want to share about Tanya Abu. This is a really amazing testimonial. She was working as a cashier, and you can see her skills before, like what her drawing was like, and then after taking the mastery program, she just completely blossomed into her own style and really found like a unique, boldness to her. And she is so addicted to painting. She paints so much, and it's very inspiring to watch her and follow her. So she was a part of our reality show. She's a mentor now. She is in galleries all over the world. So she's very inspiring. You can reach out to her if you want to ask her what her experience was. But a great testimonial. Eleanor Birch is another amazing story, and you can see her before paintings. She had some skill, and then after taking the program, she really found her unique voice and style, and has this very consistent look to her work now. And she is also just selling her work all over and creating really beautiful pieces. And she really found her purpose in art. It brings her so much joy, and she really found like her voice and like how to express herself. Rita is another really great example, and she also started out with some skill, but then you can see it really, taking the program has elevated her art so much. She was one of the very first students who took our mastery program online. She was like, when we first filmed, we call it the fly on the wall version. So it was like filming our in-person classes. she was part of that group. And I mean, now her art, like over the years, we've seen her grow and evolve, and her art's incredible, and she sells tons of her art. She's done like amazing, huge murals and commissions, and yeah, very successful. So she's a great person to follow, and she's also a mentor with us. Okay, so an action step you guys can take this month is pick one area that we kind of focused on. We talked about whether it's finding your style, maybe getting more visibility on your art, working on the business side of it, business and branding. Maybe it's facing your fears and maybe overcoming some of the, or work towards overcoming some of those fears, or building community. So maybe there's multiple areas that you want to work on, but you can just pick one to kind of focus on this month. So like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we have a free art career assessment, and I believe Tanner will put that in the chat for you guys. So it's a really quick thing you guys can do, but it will give you a roadmap on a path forward that you want to take with your art, and help you kind of figure out like where you're at in your art career. So that's a super great thing. I would definitely recommend doing that. So our mastery program is a 1-year program that you guys can take at your own pace. We have people take it in 2 years. It's really designed to be able to take at your own pace and work with your schedule. We've had some people take it in like 4 months. So if you're very extreme and want to get it all done, you can do it however you want. My husband actually did it in 4 months. So that was crazy, but he has a style now. He did the whole course and discovered his voice, discovered his superpower, faced that deepest pain, and yeah, it's definitely helped him and changed his life for sure. So, okay. The first part of the program is skill building, and we focus on oil and drawing. And a lot of people get intimidated by oil painting if you haven't tried oils, but you will fall in love with it, like almost guaranteed. It is an incredible medium to use, and if your end goal is to sell your art for a lot of money, then learning oil painting is very crucial, because that is that's where you can really charge a lot for your art. So it is the most archival, and that's what masters use. So oil painting is important, and drawing as well. And then in part 2, we learn mixed media and voice. So simultaneously working on your style and your voice at the same time, you're also learning all these different great mixed media techniques like spray paint, working with inks, collage, just all the techniques that we know, we share with you guys in this program. So I also forgot to mention that I teach this program with my mom, and she is my mentor, and she has taught me so much in my art career, and I've learned a lot from both my parents. And so we teach the program together. She probably teaches maybe 2/3 of it, and I teach about 1/3 of it, and we share from both our professional experience, all our knowledge, everything that we know. We do not hold back. So part 3, oops, it's going too fast. Part 3 is building your portfolio. So this is where everything kind of gels together, and you start that initial phase of getting consistency in your work. And by the end of part 3, you'll have, by the end of part 4, you're kind of painting during both those sections. You'll have about 25 to 30 finished portfolio pieces that are in a consistent style. And this is all about how much work that you put in. Like if you put the work in, you're going to see the results. So we also teach you professional habits and studio habits, also business habits, and just how to have that mindset you need to be a successful artist. So part 4 is all about developing your brand, marketing and selling your work. So you get to have three unique different perspectives on this, because I am obviously younger than my mom and have done things a bit differently with my art career. And when I walked away from the publishing company, I went full-time online, selling my work through my website and social media, and really focusing on building that like direct to collector experience, and started building relationship with my collectors. And so you have that perspective, but you also have all the knowledge that my mom and both my parents have learned from being a professional artist for 30 plus years. And they know a lot of like older, more traditional methods, and working with galleries, working with publishers, working with licensing. So there's so much knowledge that you guys get in this part 4 section. It's very in-depth. So these are the tuition options. Option 1 is you can pay for 2 years, and that's $4,800. So that's $200 a month. Option 2 is $4,200, and that's a 1 year payment plan. So that's $350 a month. So you save $600 there. And then option 3, you save the most money and you only pay $3,600 in full, and you get lifetime access with this. So this is incredible. It's so worth it. All these options, and all of this includes group coaching for 2 years. So you get to be part of this special group with our mentors, and you get feedback on your work. You can post your work and get critique on it. And there's also another option to get a personal one-on-one mentorship if you want. But a lot of people just, take the program and have a lot of, they have no problem with not having a mentor. So both are great options, depending on what you want. But you will be blown away by how fast your skills develop and change. So thinking back to Anna's painting and just seeing that portrait transform, that was just in 1 month. So it's really, we've seen so many incredible testimonials of people, their skills just dramatically increasing, and they start selling their work right away. So you can sell all these paintings that you do in the program. I can't remember how many pieces it is, but it's close to 75 pieces?
Something like that.
At least, that you're creating through this whole year program. So you're creating a lot of art. And in the beginning, when I was talking about finding your style, it just comes down to the time that you put in and painting consistently. And so that's why this program will help you get there so fast, because you're putting so much time and painting so much each week. And I didn't have the master program at the time. This didn't exist. My mom didn't create this yet. So I would have done that when I was 13 or 14. Probably would have helped me get here faster. But I painted consistently. And so that is the key to success, is just painting, doing the work. And you will be able to create anything you desire with total freedom. When you have that skill set, your confidence, you have so much confidence, you'll be able to paint whatever you want to paint, anything that you can see. We teach you how to paint from life, how to paint from photos, still life, figure, portrait, go through all the different subject matters, florals. It's just such a great program. Even if you only wanted to take it to grow your skills as an artist or find your style, and you're not really interested in the marketing portion, it's still just a fantastic, incredible program. So, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, we've got some questions to take us to the end here.
Yeah.
And I just lost it. Okay. Oh, someone was wondering, Martha's asking, she's found that website conversions are low for originals for her. She's wondering if you sell originals straight off your website, without any prior engagement with your collectors?
Yeah.
Or you have any tips on that?
Well, I do. Doesn't happen like all the time. Like I'd love for that to happen more, but it has happened and it's such a great feeling. So you just want to make sure that you are building credibility on your website when people are making a big purchase like that. Well, I'm not sure how much you're charging for your art, but any purchase online, like they want to make sure it's a credible place. So having at least 5 to 8 product photos of your painting in really good lighting where it's showing off like the best pieces, best parts of the painting, where you just have a professional feeling and looking website, have a shipping guarantee. There's so many little things that you can add that will create that credibility and safety on there. But I've noticed having a lot of product photos, maybe even a process photo of you painting on it, giving that credibility like you're the one creating it, that will definitely help the online sales. Even if you're selling prints, the same applies, like having a lot of different product photos and just creating overall a very professional, clean looking website.
Yeah, and I can't remember if we said this, but someone did ask how many hours they need to block in their day for the mastery program.
In their day, well, it is, I can say per week in the beginning, I think it starts out around 10 hours a week, and then it builds up to 20. And in the portfolio section, it's really up to you. Like some people spend 40 hours a week working on that. So it kind of builds over time and you get into that momentum and flow where it feels easier. But in the beginning, I would say plan on at least 10 hours, and that includes watching the videos. So you watch the recorded lesson, and then that includes the painting time and the drawing time. So you're doing about 2 to 3 projects per week, completing them start to finish.
Yeah, and I believe Jake has a video I think it's in orientation, or it's one of the early videos talking about how to create a good schedule, a good working schedule to do the mastery program. If you're working a full-time job, like how you can work it in. So yeah, that'd be a very great resource to help you there.
Yeah. Yeah, when you guys sign up, like there's a great, I forgot to mention, whole orientation of like, what to expect and how it's all gonna go down and how to like set up your studio, what supplies you need, really goes in depth with everything that you need to know to feel prepared to starting the mastery program. And it starts on the 1st every month. Like that's when people can get access. So you can sign up all during the month. You can sign up right now, and then it starts on the 1st. So everyone is like kind of put into a group where so you're going through it with other people at the same time, and there's like a starting date, and then you have access to it like whenever. You can go at your own pace. So just so that's clear, you can sign up at any point.
Yes, and there's a link in the chat.
Yeah.
Someone had an interesting question. They asked, do you think we can succeed without showing ourselves on social media?
Showing yourselves. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I think at some point, no, I think you do have to show yourself. Maybe you can just work your way up to it. It doesn't have to be like all the time. You don't have to talk to the camera every day on stories or whatever, but having, like I still don't do that. I mean, I probably should do it more, but I think it is very important for people to connect to the artist. Like when I just see art, I'm like, well, who is behind the art? Like, I want to know what they're like. And that's how we're all kind of programmed to think. Like we want to know who's behind it. And so having a few photos of you peppered in there, working on your painting, you don't have to do it all the time, but I think like working your way up to that will definitely help. And you'll see your audience be able to connect to you easier, which will eventually lead to more sales.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you could succeed without it, but I feel like if you're going to make that decision, it's one of those things where are you making decision from a position of strength. You know, like, are you not showing yourself because you're afraid to show yourself or because you genuinely don't want to? You know, I think that's a good thing to kind of assess in yourself. And yeah, like Dimitra said, don't be afraid of it. It's good. It makes it easier, I think, if you are willing to put yourself out there.
It definitely makes it easier. Yeah.
And well, we're at the end.
Okay.
Already.
So I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and it was a lot of fun just share my story with you. I hope that it has helped you guys and inspired you and given you a path forward. The mastery program is an incredible opportunity, life-changing, to really get that fast start into your art career and develop your skills, find your voice. All the things I mentioned, those 5 pillars, is in the mastery program. But yeah, I hope you guys love this, and thank you for watching and joining, and I will see you next time.